Good evening, everybody. How you guys doing today? I hope you've had a great day. I'm having a fabulous day. I'm driving home right now. It's very late. It's not that late. It's kind of cold. It's about 34 degrees outside. It's not quite freezing. And we got like a drizzle of rain mixed with some snow flurries. It's really nice. I really like the snow flurries. This is my favorite kind of weather. It's really wet out. Nice and gloomy, I just love it, man. I can't get enough of it. I wish it was like this every day. All right. So I have a picture right here of Jesus. Why? Because Jesus is the GOAT, the greatest there ever was, the greatest there ever will be. Okay, the greatest there is, the greatest there ever was, the greatest there ever will be. Okay, so that's why we talk about Jesus. And obviously, religion controls the world, and most people don't know what the hell they're talking about when it comes to the Bible. So that's why I make videos, to help educate, inform. All right, you got to battle propaganda with propaganda, right? Well, it's truth, but you got good propaganda and you got bad propaganda. You need propaganda nonetheless. You just can't sit on your ass and do nothing. I know that. But this is one of my favorite pictures of Jesus. This is actually from a stained glass window. This is a beautiful piece of art, a picture of a woman washing Jesus' feet. And you can see, I believe that's Judas Iscariot over there talking in one of the disciples' ears, like, oh, I can't believe he's wasting that ointment. We could have sold that and gave the money to the poor. Or something like that. He's over there talking shit, running his mouth. But this is a really beautiful painting. There's a lot going on in it. It's just a very nice piece. I wonder who actually... I could pull up the artist's name. I forgot. I'd have to go dig it back up. But regardless, I want to talk about the woman washing Jesus' feet. Hey, that's another thing, guys. Jesus washed his disciples' feet, right? While wearing a towel. So he was pretty much butt naked. I'm not saying Jesus is gay or nothing. Nothing like that, guys. Well, I'm just saying he did wash the disciples' feet. How many of you guys would do that? Only person I've ever seen in real life to wash somebody's feet is Pope Francis. That's it. I ain't never done it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to lie. Jesus is a better man than me. It's like, I don't want to get up in your toes and all that. Now, I can understand in the ancient world, maybe they didn't have Nikes. They didn't have indoor plumbing. Well, they did have indoor plumbing. It depends on where you're at, on what kind of plumbing you get. Probably not much, right? So, they didn't have modern luxuries. So, you're either traveling, walking around for 30 days. But them feet were stinking. They was wearing sandals, so they probably got to breathe a little more. So, I wonder if their toe fungus was as bad as ours. Wearing tennis shoes, you get a lot of fungus buildup. You got to let them toes breathe. That's why I bought sandals. When I'm walking around at the house, I wear sandals. With no socks. Just let them toes breathe. You know what I'm saying? Because moist and dark and damp areas, that's not good. That's where a fungus lives, What am I talking about? Toes, bro. Hey, that's what she talking about. She washing Jesus' toes. She getting up in there. She cleaning his feet with her hair. I wonder if yeah. So that's how you do it. She was getting up in there. But let's look this up. Why I did look it up. So I said, who was the woman to wash Jesus' feet? Because you get confused on these things because there's 4 gospels and there's different stories. Everything contradicts each other. You get confused. I got to look stuff up every once in a while. Several women washed Jesus' feet in the gospels. Most notably, Mary of Bethany, sister to Martha and Lazarus, who anointed his feet with costly perfume and wiped them with her hair. That's the picture we were looking at, I believe. Another account in Luke 7 describes an unnamed sinful woman washing his feet with her tears, anointing them with perfumes, and drying them with her hair. Those debated whether this is Mary of Bethany or perhaps Mary Magdalene. I'm driving trying to read. It's like, no, please not crash. All right. Mary Magdalene. Yeah, Mary Magdalene. So, there's a very strong emphasis on women in the New Testament. That's something else a lot of guys don't want to recognize. Most Christian men I run into, especially on the internet, they're very anti-woman, very misogynistic. I was very guilty of it too, guys. I'm not going to lie. But the whole, well, give me the paw. Let the women learn in silence. Yeah, because women talk too damn much. Once y'all start talking, you don't stop. It's like, shut the... I stopped listening like a half hour ago. You still talking. You can see why they wrote that. But in the early church, you did have women leaders. Like Marcion made the first ever New Testament. Marcion of Sinope, whatever you call it, up there in the Pontus, by the Black Sea. Marcion. All right. He had women priests or preachers, whatever you call them. Bishops, leaders. I'll just call them leaders. Apostles. How about we call them apostles? We can call them that. Whatever you want to call them, leaders. He had women leaders. And that's just a fact, guys. That's all throughout early Christianity. So you see a lot of it as an anti-women thing. So I told you guys I'm a feminist now. I'm trying to get all the women on my side. Actually, I had no lesson at all. I was like, I have a cool picture, though. All I need is a picture. That'll get me going. But, yeah, the woman. Oh, yeah, so who's the first people to see Jesus raised from the dead? Was it a man or a woman? It was women. All right? Mary Magdalene, right? We could look that up, too. Women were the first ones to see Jesus rise from the grave. Women, not men. And back in the ancient world, and still, even in the Muslim world today, probably amongst Jews too, let's be honest. They're not going to tell you guys. They keep everything secret. But a woman's testimony does not count, because a woman cannot give testimony because she has no testicles. How can a woman testify if she has no testicles? And you think, oh, that's preposterous, that's ridiculous. Testicles and testify has nothing to do with each other. That's what you think. That is what you think. And you thought wrong. Like, a woman can't even take the test. She can't pass the test. You got to have big balls to pass that test. You know what I mean? You got to have testes to pass that test. What the hell? I literally just forgot my lesson. Or whatever I was just talking about. So, women. Oh, yeah, you have women leaders, right? Like Mary Magdalene. So, how come... Let's look it up real quick. When I get to a spot, I'm going to type it in. But how come men were not the first ones to see Jesus rise from the dead? How come, guys? Somebody tell me. Because, a woman's testimony was considered invalid, untrustworthy, rubbish. Oh, a woman said it? Because there's a law in the Torah that says, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let everything be established, right? You gotta have at least 2 or 3 witnesses to say something is true, to verify something's authenticity. If you want to verify if somebody actually committed a crime or not, or anything actually happened, you needed to have at least 2 witnesses. But the 2 witnesses we had for Jesus' resurrection initially was the women, right? And it was not men. And see, the Lord did that on purpose too. Why was it women? I think that was an emphasis on the woman for a reason. Because everybody else, they say, oh, these women are just whores. You listen to these dumb whores. I ain't listening to these dumb assholes. That's why, if women came and told us something today, the men ain't gonna believe them. They just some dumb assholes. Who the fuck you gonna listen to these whores? Okay. Oh, she's a prostitute. I seen her tricking on the street. I ain't gonna listen to her. Yeah, let me look that up. So, fuck you honking at, bro? Oh, they honking at the guy next to me. I see why they're honking. They have a green arrow and they just sat there and stared at it. Welcome to America. I mean, Africa. So apparently, we have people in control of this world who hate us, and they decided to flood our countries with Africans. It's a conspiracy, guys. This is not to help people. No, this is the ultimate plan is they want to murder us all. Well, just mainly the whites and the blacks, I guess. Mostly the whites. It's pretty obvious. First, to see Come on, these people are driving slow. Kind of hard to do anything when I'm driving. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just going to have to talk until I get away from these morons driving. But all I was going to do is type in first people to see Jesus rise from the dead. To see Jesus rise from the dead. Get away from me, bro. Like, get the fuck away from me. God. Some people just can't get a clue. Like, you have zero driving awareness. Like, I'm trying to get away from you. Like, to separate myself. Like, when I'm driving, here's a driving tip, guys. I'm a professional driver. I do not drive parallel to other cars. If I can avoid driving directly parallel to another car, I will avoid that. Or I will either drop behind them or go in front of them. So I am not directly side by side with another car. Because when you are side by side, directly parallel with another vehicle, the probability and the chances of them hitting you drastically increase. The probability of them hitting you, because I'm not going to hit them, of them hitting me, the probability increases exponentially. Because these people can't drive. The average person can't even drive inside the lines because they're all from Africa. Fuck, you ever see an African in NASCAR? There's probably a black guy in there. You ever see a woman in NASCAR? Oh, you women can't drive either. Women drive like Somalians. Hey, I'm gonna say good stuff about the woman, and then I'm gonna bring it back in. We're gonna come back down to reality, come back down to earth. Y'all some bitches can't drive. Alright, here we go. This is like the worst video ever. At least I gave you something, you know what I mean? I thought about you guys. The first person to see Jesus after his resurrection, according to all four Gospels. You know, that's pretty good. You know, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word of God be established, right, guys? So, usually all 4 Gospels never agree on anything. And you know what? This is actually profound. When you really think about this, think about it, guys. The 4 Gospels usually contradict each other on a lot of key points. But on this one point, they all agree. I find that very interesting. I think we get to the bottom of Christianity, early Christianity. You're going to find out Mary Magdalene is one of the most important figures in early Christianity because essentially Jesus is right-hand man, right-hand woman. There is neither man or woman in Christ. All right? The angels in heaven do not marry, nor are they given into marriage. Yeah. Are spirits male or female, guys? How does that work? I'm not claiming I got all the answers. But look, Mary, that's why Jesus said what? There's neither man nor female in Jesus, in the Lord, bro. Okay, that's why you can have women leaders. Now, is that ideal? Look, most of the men leaders are retarded. Alright, so it doesn't even matter. Man leader, woman leader. What's the difference? Both dumber than a box of rocks. Yeah, you lose as a lose-lose with both of them. Like it even matters who your leader is. You're all retards. So like it matters. You over here arguing, oh, could I have a man or a woman? Well, you all teach that Yahweh is the Father of Jesus. So you all worship Satan and you're all dumb as hell. So who cares at this point? You acting like, oh, I'm so much smarter than a woman. Then what? So, it's like, why bother, bro? So, yeah. We just don't want women yapping too much. I ain't going to church with none of y'all, no way. So, we ain't going to find out. I ain't going to be nowhere around nobody. I'm going to be at home by myself. Alright? The first person to see Jesus after his resurrection, according to all 4 Gospels, was Mary Magdalene. That's Jesus' favorite disciple. Apparently, in my opinion, who encountered him. Oh, he liked her a whole lot, right? They had children, and no, I'm not saying none of that stuff. I didn't say any of that. So don't think I'm saying stuff I'm not saying. Okay, I just think that, Mary Magdalene, she was sidelined by the Catholic Church. The Catholic Church is very, very gay, guys. It's very gay. They molest children. They make men shave off their beards. Women aren't allowed to have sex. Men ain't nobody allowed to have sex. All right, men aren't allowed to get married. I gotta understand why, so you can focus on your job. That does make sense. You can't really get mad at that. But they deprived the nuns of sex. They all turn into lesbians. You can't deprive a woman of sex. She'll go insane. So I don't know, bro. That just don't sound right. Depriving the people. Well, whatever. But yeah, they really like little boys though. They have, bro. Like, what's going on with the Catholic Church? But you know, they do seem to be an very anti-woman. You know, anti-Mary Magdalene. It seems like everybody's you just even mention Mary Magdalene, Christians start going, would you, They think they probably think you're about to say something crazy. But you look all through early Christian literature, Mary Magdalene's pretty fucking important. She's in the Gospel of Thomas. She seemed like she had more sense than everybody else, you know. Every time you see that she's portrayed as being Jesus' most loyal disciple. Like, she loves Jesus more than anybody. That's what I'm getting at, guys. And I know a lot of you women out there, you think, you get it out your head, you are not Mary Magdalene in the reincarnation. No, stop it. So you women, Bible people get whacked out. The men think they're King David in the reincarnation or something, whacked out. And women always go, I'm Mary Magdalene in the reincarnation. Get the fuck out of here. Please don't be a weirdo. So that's the problem with religion. Everybody turns into fucking weirdos. I mean, that's part of the fun too, I guess. But it's just schizo stuff, bro. It literally turns you into a schizo. You gotta be really careful about that. But Mary Magdalene, you know, in all four Gospels, Mary Magdalene, she encountered him at the empty tomb, initially mistaking him for a gardener before he spoke her name, revealing himself as the risen Lord. And then she became the first witness to share the good news with the disciples. Right. So if Jesus has powers, Christians, you guys think Jesus is God, right? I'll say that right there with you. Okay? So Jesus is God, right? So he could have easily had it arranged so Peter was the first one that seen him. Or John was the first one. Nope, it was Mary, bro. That tells you something right there. And it happened in all four Gospels. So Mary Magdalene is key. She's very important. All right? And that's who the Lord trusted with his good news. The gospel. That is the gospel. The good news. That is the gospel. He is risen. You got to go tell it on the mountain. Well, that's a different song. Different topic. Well, actually, depends. I was about to sing Go Tell It on the Mountain. Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. I had to sing it for you. It said that Jesus Christ is born. Now, I know Marcion and a lot of other earlier Christians would say Jesus was not born, that he just came down from heaven fully grown. Or some people might disagree with that. I was just watching a Dr. David Litwood video. He had suggested that Marcion did not believe that Jesus came down to earth as a full-grown man, that he perhaps grew up. Who fucking knows, bro? Who knows? Nobody knows. That's who. All I know is Jesus is real. I know that much. Like, you take all this other stuff, bro, all this other crazy stuff, there's a lot to it. One thing I know for sure, Jesus is real. There ain't no doubt about that one. Like, everything else, I got questions. And on that one, ain't no questions. Ain't no doubt. All right? The first person to see Jesus was Mary. She initially mistook him for a gardener before he spoke her name, revealing himself as the risen Lord, and then she became the first witness to share the good news. So the Lord hadn't trusted Mary with that good news to go tell everybody. Well, you can say in the book of Mark, or they found an empty tomb, right? And they didn't tell anybody. They were afraid. They didn't even tell nobody. So, I mean, different accounts, different gospels, stories slightly different. Still Mary Magdalene. Location, the tomb where Jesus, he first appeared as a figure, potentially a gardener. I'm trying to see if there's anything else in here I can talk about. This is not like the best video I've ever made. I'm not going to lie, guys. But it is a video. How long we been going? It's like 20 minutes, bro. That's a long video. 20 minutes? That's pretty good. All Gospels agree Mary Magdalene was the first to see the risen Christ, highlighting her crucial role in the resurrection story. I would say so, bro. That is a highlight. This is like I said, bro, it is very profound that all 4 Gospels agree on this one thing. Like, the Gospels never agree on anything. Like, the birth narrative. Let's go back to Jesus' birth once again. Because that's why everybody wonders, where the heck did Jesus even come from? Like, do we even know? People, oh yeah, Jesus was a Jew. Really? Where'd he come from? Nobody knows. Oh, we have a genealogy in Matthew. It's right there, dummy. Oh, we have a genealogy in Luke also. But the genealogy in Luke contradicts the genealogy in Matthew. So you can throw both of those in the trash because they made it up. Then you get to other curious spots in the Bible. If Jesus is a Jew, why is he always cursing out the Jews? It always says the Jews this, the Jews did that, the Jews this. It always makes it seem like the Jews and Jesus and his people are 2 different groups. Like, this group over here is called the Jews, and this group is Jesus and his people. They're not like, Jesus and the disciples are never lumped in with the Jews. That doesn't make sense if they're all Jews. You know what I'm saying? The Jews are always like this other party. And then the Jews in the book of John, they accuse Jesus of being a Samaritan. He's like, oh, that's that Samaritan, and he has a devil. Like, what? It's like shit like that makes you scratch your head. Then you think about Simon and Samaria. Do you scratch your head some more? It's just a lot of shit to scratch your head at, guys. Okay, a lot of unanswered questions. All right, so you think you know so much. You don't know much of anything. I think the guy that knows the most is the guy who admits, like, I don't fucking know nothing, bro. You keep asking questions. Keep digging. I know Jesus is real. I know that. I know that much. So, recognition, Jesus called her Mary, causing her to recognize him instantly. Tasked with what? Did I mess up? Oh yeah, I said this earlier. It's like I'm like a scholar, guys. Look at this. Breaking norms. Her selection defied cultural norms of the time, where women's testimonies were often disregarded, emphasizing Jesus' transformative message. Very transformative indeed. Jesus didn't follow the Torah. All right, the Torah teaches you to curse your enemies, to hate your enemies. Jesus teaches you to love your enemies. You know, according to the Torah, a woman is just a piece of property. All right, even if a woman, say if a woman is pregnant in the Old Testament, if you have a pregnant woman and say somebody punches her in the stomach and the unborn baby dies, is that murder? Nope, he just pays a fine. That's property. It's property rights. A woman's just a piece of property. Okay? I used to teach that when we was with the Israelites. We used to bring scriptures out, to prove it. And it is really kind of true. According to the Old Testament, women are property. All right, it's just facts, man. But yeah, what Jesus said, there's neither man nor female. We're all one, bro. In the spirit. In the spirit. Do spirits have penises and vaginas? I mean, that's something else we got to think about, guys. Am I allowed to even talk about? I know people, you're a weirdo. You asked if spirits have penises. I mean, but I think that's a legit valid question. Ain't it? That's a good question. And I'm going to leave you with that question. With that, I'm out of here.